Hello, Hormones Balance Thrivers. Let me just do a quick sound check to make sure that we are good. Just gonna see. Okay. All right, well, let's see. This is the first time I'm actually doing this with my phone. I normally use a camera called the Mevo camera that shows me a totally different interface. So let's see how this works out. Can you guys confirm you can hear me okay? So that I just want to make sure that the sound is good. And yeah, there's more and more people coming on. Awesome. Okay, so today's call is going to be a little different. For those of you who are logging in for the first time, I've always been doing live Q&As on Fridays unless I'm traveling or I'm sick. So far I haven't been sick. Brandy says yes. Awesome. Thank you, Brandy. Yeah, so what's going to happen today is going to be a little different because I'm going to do the Q&As a little bit later. But what I would love to do first is show you behind the scenes of what it takes to create a cookbook. I know many of you have asked us about this before. And so, you know, I thought since I'm at the studio for the next 2 weeks, well, I've already been here for almost a week, we're going to be here for 14 days to do 80 photographs for the cookbook. So yeah, so you see a nice fireplace at the back, but that's just one part of the studio. There is a lot more. So I'm just gonna wait for a little bit, for a few more minutes for more people to come on. Hi, Christine Canino. Hello. Hi, Bear Zorzi. Good morning. There's always some few people who are always regular, and it makes me so happy. Thank you for the support. So yeah, so if you could just hold on to your questions about hormones towards the second part of the call, that would be great. Otherwise, they're gonna just disappear. Hi there, Teresa Jimenez. Hello. What's gonna happen is if you pose the questions about your hormonal stuff right now, I'm not gonna get to it because your questions will disappear like within 2 seconds, and then I'm not gonna remember all of them. At the same time, I wanted to show you the studio, around the studio, and some of the quirky things. Luz is saying, what can you do to reduce thyroid nodules? Yes, Luz, could you pose the question towards the second part of the call today? Hey, Rob and Keith, hello. And then I'll be happy to talk about it. In fact, we just had an article that came out about kale. Since we are waiting for female people to come on, I'm just gonna. I love the finger, the thumbs up flying in and the hearts. Thank you. Yeah, so, you know, we actually just posted an article about the kale is not going to kill your thyroid, unlike a lot of the different bloggers, health bloggers have been claiming, copying content from one to the other without fact-checking. And the interesting thing is that actually cruciferous vegetables, hi Christine, the studio looks beautiful. Well, you haven't seen it yet. It's just the fireplace behind me. Yeah, so, you know, actually cruciferous vegetables help you to reduce what's called estrogen dominance, which is the leading cause of thyroid nodules and cancers. I also have 3 nodules on my thyroid that were all gone when I changed my diet. So look into estrogen dominance. If you go to my website, hormonesbalance.com, you will see just on the right side, there's a little search button. Look for estrogen dominance, and from there you will be able to find articles about it and do exactly what we mentioned in the articles about broccoli sprouts, about reducing all the different toxins which are estrogenic in nature from cosmetic skincare products, lessening of alcohol, working on your liver a lot, right? Really helps with estrogen dominance. Okay, so there's more people coming on, so why don't we do, are you guys ready for a little tour of the studio? My team is actually just staging one recipe, and so I'm gonna show it to you what the final product looks like. Yeah, so Christine, thank you for posting the URL of my website. Really appreciate it. So that makes it easier for the newbies. Are you guys ready to see the studio at the back? Just the studio, so I can just walk you around a little bit here. Okay, so why don't we get started? I'm gonna move around with my tripod, so it might be a little bit of movement that you will see, but you know, just that's the way it is. All right, so why don't we get started? I'll just show you the kitchen first. I'm gonna turn around the camera and see what's going on. It's a lot of stuff going on. So the bags on the floor right here, this is just the shopping for today. The food prepper was here earlier to prep up all the food so we can just get going. It's beautiful open kitchen. And then now we can show you, this is really how the studio looks. Some of you might have seen the photographs of it on the Hormone Thrivers, which is a closed community I have. Anybody who's done any of my programs gets access to Hormone Thrivers, a great support community. So why don't I just show you first what are we doing right now here, and that is, do you guys recognize these? So they look a little dark here on my camera, but this is really, those are the crackers. Those are the seed rotation crackers. For those of you who have done seed rotation, you know what I'm talking about. Let me show you how different this looks on a camera. So, hi Stefan.
Hey.
So this is my colleague Stefan,
Hey.
who's working on in the team together with Gabrielle. I'll introduce you to Gabrielle in a second. This is how we want it. Is this how we want the photo to look?
This is how we want the
This
photo
is how
to
we
look.
want it to look. So this is, yeah, so this is almost the final product.
Yeah.
Gabrielle
Hi, how's it going?
is the photographer, the stylist, really managing the whole crew here. I found Gabrielle on Pinterest because I just absolutely love his work.
Yay.
And then I thought, you know, there's nobody else I would want to photograph my food than Gabrielle.
Yes. Yay.
All right, so and let me tell you, this, just to get this going.
Oh, right.
How long did it take us this morning just to get this going?
Like about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, just to like chop, get everything there, you know, like make every little cracker glisten and look perfect, and the little seeds and everything. So yeah, that's the movie magic.
And it
behind
all
the
has to be
crackers.
perfect, right?
Right, of course. Yes.
Yeah, in your
Of
world.
course.
So yeah, so it's always amazes me, I have to say, how long these things take
Oh yeah.
to make. So this is Steve, who is now working with our team as well, and
Hello.
he's been touching up photographs. So yeah, so why don't we show them a couple of those that we really like.
Sure.
Yeah, those are, for example, something we photographed 2 days ago, a mushroom stew. This is a chocolate cherry smoothie. This is the porcini beef stew.
Just that one.
These are our chicken livers. You guys know I love chicken livers, and so this is a wonderful pate, easy French pate. Different nut butters that are also going to be used for your seed rotation. Herbal pesto. Oh, this is lovely. This is a Russian or Polish borscht, which is basically your beetroot soup. Really great together with carrots, really helps with estrogen boosting. Let's see, what else do we have? Spice mixes. Pumpkin, apple, and turmeric soup. Easy turmeric, sorry, this is a miso soup with cod, black cod. Oh, that's one of my favorite fish. This is our vegetable broth. Isn't it just lovely? Like, you just want to run to the kitchen and just start making it right away. Just the amount of vegetables and the goodness you're getting out of this. Okay, let's see what else. Those are our salads, all four. Gosh, this took about 3 hours to put this to get this photograph together, right? Is there anything else we have got here? Oh, this is lovely. This is one of my favorites. In terms of, you can see this. You know, you might think that this is just a bunch of bottles that put together. Let me tell you that I've tried to do this myself before. It never looks that great. You're gonna be just really as professional as that Gabrielle is to make it all happen. And this shot, I mean, this took about an hour just to put the composition together so that it works. Let's see what else we've got there. Oh yeah, different mayos. So we're working with mayos that are egg-free. So these are different recipes for that with different flavors.
What do you think?
And we've got herbal butters. You know how you always have some herbs left in the fridge and they kind of wither and you throw them away after paying like $5 for them? So turn them into butters, and so you're gonna be seeing some recipes on that as well.
Let me turn the lights off too.
Let's see, this is me yesterday doing the sauerkraut and carrot salad. So we have a little bit of action going on here. Okay, and one more. Some of you might know the salad, and that's the dandelion and orange salad. Dandelion is just lovely for liver health. Thank you so much, Steve. Yeah, why don't we go out to the outside? I'll show you this where the studio is. It's a beautiful part of Vancouver. We are right outside. You can see the cityscape right behind me. It's not raining, which is a real great benefit for those of you who've been to the southeast, in the Pacific Northwest. You know how it is in winter. It's just raining nonstop. So yeah, the city center is right behind me. I have to tell you though, one of the things that was a huge surprise to me was how much I was actually walking to work, and I passed by this recovery, what is it called? An overdose recovery center, recovery response center here in Vancouver. And I was like, what's going on? Like, who, you know, why would you want to have a permanent structure for people with overdosing? And sadly, the part of town we are in is called Gastown, which is a very hip part of town in Vancouver, but it also has attracted an incredible amount of addicts, and then the dealers have been mixing some crap into heroin and whatever drugs they're doing, and people have been dying on the streets. The shocking thing, especially in Canada, is that they have defunded mental health institutions, so a lot of people with mental health are on the streets, and so there is no facilities for them, and so they are basically on the streets, and all of them are just addicted to just the worst kinds of, you know, whether it's heroin in the unpurest form or crack. It's just awful. So it's a really, I mean, my heart breaks just going through this, because, you know, walking through this neighborhood every day, because these are really people who have been so much in pain. And so anyway, I don't want to go on about this today, but you know, that's just part of reality here. We're in a really cool town and a beautiful, you know, place, but it's just part of reality of being in a town like Vancouver, which was a real surprise to me, especially for the Canadians, since socially they're much more responsible than a lot of other countries. So do you guys have any questions on the studio? Is there anything that you are curious about? Let me know, and I'll be happy to show you. One of the things that I've also discovered by doing this work is that you know, people, Geraldine is saying, that's a shame. Yeah, U.S. also handles mental illness the same way. Absolutely true. And in San Francisco, I remember, you know, especially coming from Asia, where I lived most of my life, when I moved to America, and having seen, just experienced, yeah, San Francisco, how much of mental disease there is that is completely unattended, was really quite a shocker. Okay, so I'm just adjusting my tripod. Can you see the fireplace at the back? Nice and cozy. All right, so yeah, so let's go over to the questions. What questions do you have about what you saw just now? And one thing I want to share with you, which is kind of interesting, is that, you know, when we are shooting food, I kind of brought a lot of like nice clothes that I really like, right? And Gabrielle is like, do you want this? Is this a photo shoot of you? Is this a fashion show? Or is this like, are we photographing food? So one of the things that is like when you know, when you're photographing food and you are in the photograph, it has to be really plain, because really the attention is then on the food, and you're just the prop, literally, and not the focus, right? So something that took me a while to get used to. That's why you see this sweater I just bought yesterday. This cashmere, it's a beautiful cashmere sweater I bought yesterday, last night. I had to literally run off and buy new clothes to kind of tone everything down. I got my nails done. You see this, like they are pretty boring, not a very exciting color, but we don't want exciting because otherwise it's the nails that you see and not the food, right? So it's just little things like that that are really quite fascinating. All right, so let's see what questions we have coming up, and I'm just gonna share with you, I'm drinking a chai here today with a bit of a coconut creamer. That's my little treat for the day on a cold morning like this. It's 0 degrees and Celsius, which is, I'm like, oh, thank goodness they're in Celsius again. And for those of you in Fahrenheit, it's like 37 or something, right? So let's see, what questions do we have coming in? And I'll be happy to take your questions regarding hormonal balance. So I think I've answered the question about thyroid nodules, very common issue. You know what, it was a great question. Thank you for posting it just now. One of the things that drives me absolutely crazy is when you go and see a doctor and you ask them, Tammy's asking, would you have more live Q&As in the future? Tammy, absolutely. Every Friday I'm committed to doing this. So normally it's from Boulder, Colorado. If I'm back home, if I'm traveling, I try to do it. I don't do it when I'm on holidays because I want to unplug. But otherwise, yes, it's every Friday at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. So back to those nodules, what drives me crazy about it is that when you go and see a doctor, they will tell you, well, it looks like a nodule. Okay, they do the sonogram, right? Sometimes if you put your head to the back and then you swallow water, you will actually see a certain irregularity on your thyroid. That's when you can kind of at home check, but it's always bad to get a sonogram. In fact, I think, anybody who's got thyroid issues should get a sonogram done at least once a year just to manage your thyroid very proactively. So the interesting thing is a lot of people go and see a doctor and then they go, well, come back watch it and come back in 6 months' time. What does that mean to watch? I mean, if you had a growth, like for example here on your hand, right, that was visible and you could feel it, wouldn't you do something about it? Would you just sit there and just watch it? It drives me crazy. Well, the truth is that Western medicine doesn't have anything to offer patients with thyroid nodules, because even like the term of estrogen dominance is something that is kind of like the functional medicine realm. It's not the Western medicine realm. And so one of the things that you can do with estrogen dominance, which is just so easy, like I feel amongst all the different hormonal imbalances, estrogen dominance is the easiest hormonal imbalance to manage and reverse. And you do that predominantly, so like I said, go to my website, look up more, but since we are on this topic right now, the easiest thing to do is, first and foremost, is to start, I thought I had ultrasound rather than sonogram. You can do both. No, both of them are actually great. They were diagnosed in mid-2000. Yeah, so an ultrasound is great as well. It depends on who you work with and who the expert is, but both of them have the same ability of diagnosing and just seeing the texture of your thyroid gland. So yeah, so it's actually really quite simple. The first thing you want to do is, I always say this is the two-pronged approach of removing some things and adding others, right? If you talk about removing things, reducing alcohol, really then the Robin is saying, I heard you should be eating dark vegetables, have thyroid problems like kale. You shouldn't be eating. Yeah, Robin, so go to my website. The article we just published is the latest article. It's under articles. The latest one is on kale is not going to kill your thyroid. That's the title of the of the blog post. And if you want to be receiving weekly emails from us with new articles and stuff that's happening, that you can help yourself from a nutritional perspective, hormone perspective, go to hormonesbalance.com, sign up to my mailing list, get on the list, and get information on a weekly basis. So yeah, and so like I said, removing things like estrogenic stuff, so anything to do with alcohol, removing skincare products that, all the big brands that advertise the main media, like L'Oreal's and Pantene's and all those brands, right? And I'm not demonizing just those. All these brands that you see on the main in the shopping complexes, right? Everything that smells so intensely. That stuff is loaded with xenoestrogens that really mess up your hormones. So you want to get off those as much as possible. The other thing is, with estrogen dominance is stress. I mean, stress can be hugely detrimental because it blocks your progesterone receptors. Estrogen dominance happens when there is either too much of estrogen versus progesterone. So if progesterone is blocked off because of stress, you're always going to have more estrogen. That's one of the issues. The other thing is how the estrogens are broken down to metabolites is going to make a big difference. So the liver, interestingly enough, the liver is responsible for breaking down estrogens. Take care of your liver, right? And if you look at again, and there's a lot of things you can do, and I feel like there's only so much I can talk about it in a short call like this. If you go to my website, hormonesbalance.com, on the right side, search for liver. There's an article that's got like thousands of shares, and that article talks about what are the symptoms of you having a sluggish liver. So you know that right away. And number two is what are the things you can do to help yourself with your liver. One of my favorite things to do is actually adding cruciferous vegetables into your life. They are hugely beneficial for the liver. They detoxify us from estrogens. Brandy's saying, I started using progesterone cream. What do you think about that? Hey, Brandy, so I work with food. You know, I think it's important to do whatever it takes to make you feel better. The question that I would ask if it was me is, why am I not producing sufficient progesterone in the first place, right? Why is my, progesterone is produced in your, in the second part of the cycle is at the highest, right? It's in the lutein corpus. And this is where, so there's the thickening of the lining of the uterus that starts producing progesterone. The question is, why are you not producing it naturally yourself? And I feel that with these kind of things like progesterone cream, for example, or any other hormone replacement therapy, is we are masking the real problem here, which is, am I toxic? Am I too stressed? How are my sugar levels, Right? And so we are kind of masking that part instead of asking the question, what can I do to let my body produce sufficient progesterone on its own? So, if you can't sleep, if you're having anxiety attacks, if you can't get pregnant, right, all of those things, I think it's a great idea to go on a progesterone cream temporarily, with the view that you want to naturally manage it as much as possible, or address the underlying causes of why is your progesterone being underproduced, or what's blocking your progesterone from getting into the receptors. And so Brandy's saying, I agree with you, I need to clean up my diet and reduce stress. Thank you. And that's exactly what it is. So it's a bit of a Band-Aid, that's the way I see it. Let's see, there was a question here from Christina. As I eat more and more healthy things and keep track of what goes on and what comes out, I'm surprised at what causes my digestive issues. For example, sunflower seeds, Brussels, I think it's Brussels sprouts, I think. So Christine, we have these weird food intolerances. Sometimes it's hard to say why, and we kind of know why, because the digestion is just not in a great shape. That's why you're responding to them. But it's nothing unusual. Sunflower seeds are seeds. Seeds are kind of common, and nuts and seeds can be a trigger with a lot of food sensitivities. Brussels sprouts, Wendy's saying, I listened to your webinar and fall, and you were very helpful. I'm glad you find that. Thank you, Wendy. So, let's see, what else is this? Robin, isn't estrogen dominance less likely when you're postmenopausal? I read actually need more post-menopause. Yes. So, Robin, I think you are new to the community. So there's a lot of topics. I've already covered that in the past, and I would prefer not to repeat them for people who've already watched this. So, but thank you for your question. It makes a lot of sense, right? Like, if I'm in menopause, my estrogen is tanking, I can have estrogen dominance, and the answer is yes, you can. And how this happens is that you have 3 different types of estrogens, and so first of all, every one of them has a different role, but also these estrogens get broken down into metabolites, and some metabolites are very protective and they're great for us, others are antagonistic. And even though you are in menopause, and even though you have low estrogen levels, how these estrogens get broken down can still be highly antagonistic. And so if you think about it, a lot of women with menopause and postmenopausal do develop breast cancers, which is the most common cause, is estrogen dominance. If this was true, right, what you said just now is that the women in menopause shouldn't be having breast cancers, where this is actually the highest population amongst women to develop breast cancer. So yes, it's absolutely possible. And the protocol for estrogen dominance will be exactly the same for women who are going through menopause than anyone else. So I would suggest go to hormonesbalance.com/quiz, take the quiz, and see whether you're estrogen dominant or not. Sometimes we get emails from people saying, your quiz doesn't make any sense. I'm high estrogen and I'm low estrogen all at the same time. This doesn't make any sense. Your quiz is wrong. No, the quiz is not wrong. It's like it happens because of what I explained just now. And the same thing happens with adrenals, when you can have high adrenals and low adrenals at the same time. And the way it happens is that you can have high adrenals, for example, first thing in the morning and be all jazzed up and like, woo, right? And then they're dipping in the afternoon, you are like dead, and then they go up again. So you have low cortisol levels in the afternoon, and then in the evening they go back up again, and then you can't sleep, right? You're wired, you're tired, but you can't sleep. And so that they're kind of going up and down of cortisol levels instead of like in a perfect world, in a healthy person's life, you have this nice curve. It starts high in the morning, not too high, not too low, but just in a good zone, right? And then it kind of comes down towards the evening so that you can fall asleep. I haven't seen curves like that in a lot of women, especially those ones living in cities with kids, full-on careers, and a lot of negative self-talk. These things can really mess up our adrenals. Okay, ladies, let me see what other questions are coming in. Teresa is saying insomniac as well. Well, yeah, so I don't know whether I've covered sleep already. I know we have an article. We have actually 2 articles on sleep, Teresa. So welcome to the community. If you're here for the first time, I'm really happy that you're asking these questions. And Teresa, quality of sleep is an indication that your body is struggling to calm down. The question is why? And there's a lot of things you can look into. There isn't like a single thing I can tell you. If there was, most people will be sleeping really well. 30% of people I work with can't sleep. So you're not alone in this, but it's a very multifactorial issue. And so Teresa, if you go to my website, hormonesbalance.com, look at sleep, just enter sleep. There's 2 beautiful articles, long articles we have on sleep that talk about potential causes. And sometimes it's something as simple as stop eating sugar late at night. It could be something simple as stop drinking coffee before 12 p.m. She says, I can't sleep at night until almost 2 or 3 a.m. Right. Sarah is saying. So, some people are if you were, for example, a slow coffee metabolizer and you're drinking coffee after 12 p.m., a very high chance you're not going to be able to fall asleep. I have a friend who will do decaf in the morning, like 9 a.m., and then he wouldn't be able to sleep. Even after a decaf, first thing in the morning. So it really depends on how sensitive you are to caffeine. There's a lot of other reasons why this is happening. I'll let you take a look at the article and dig deeper into that and try all these different points, because I can tell you that, I've even seen women like getting off gluten and sugar and dairy, right? All these big food intolerance, these big inflammatory food triggers for a lot of women. And Robin is saying, I drink organic decaffeinated. Okay, great. So maybe coffee is not your problem, right? It's look into the other factors. And like I said, look at the article. So sometimes I was just going to say that sometimes it's something as simple as getting off gluten, dairy, sugar, and some of the other food sensitivities you have. And when I used to work on one-on-one with clients, people will stop taking sleeping pills when they go on the elimination diet. If you haven't heard of the elimination diet, you should do it because it's highly anti-inflammatory. It removes food triggers that are your problem. It's not a diet for everybody, right? It's a diet specifically for you to help you identify what are your triggers. Hey, John and Lori, is it? Hi, here for the first time. Too many issues to even list. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. But here is the thing. And I need to get this wrapped up because I need to go. We are working on the next. We are looking at the next recipe, and I need to get involved to that. So I'm gonna just say one more thing before we chow off for today, and that is this is a message for John and Lori. So I'm assuming it's probably Lori watching this. Hotcha. Is that by pronouncing it right? Is it a Polish name? Hotcha. Is that we get into the mentality which doctors have trained us, Western medicine has trained us to do, is going after the symptoms, right? I've got headaches, so I do this. I can't sleep, so I take this pill, right? It hurts in my leg, so I go and see a leg doctor, right? Or whatever, right? Or surgeon, etc. The interesting thing is that when you start balancing things into your life, amazing things start happening. And a lot of mysterious symptoms people have been struggling with for years just completely go away. A good example of that is doing the elimination diet. I would really, Lori, if John and Lori, I'm assuming it's Lori, if you haven't done the elimination diet yet, go to cookingforbalance.com. It's in my online cooking program that starts off with a free workshop. And I talk about it there. What are the huge food triggers like gluten, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, sugar, nightshade vegetables can be causing so many issues for people who are running around for years from doctor to doctor. They still can't figure out. They go on the elimination diet and then boom, like within 2-4 weeks, they're just becoming a different person. So if you're new to this, Lori, take a look at that, because it really can make a humongous difference in how people feel. For those of you who are new to this, and I don't know if you all know my story, but for years I've been plagued by food intolerances. I had no idea that gluten was giving me horrendous headaches and pimples like crazy. Eggs were even a bigger problem. I had cystic acne all over my face, as well as at my chest, on my back, even on my butt, and horrendous headaches all the time. I was always walking around with Tylenol. So it was like to a point of migraines where even moving my eyes was really painful. Terrible PMSs, horrendous mood swings. The list just goes on. Ear infections, sinus infections all the time. I had a horrible candida. The list just goes on. And I went on the elimination diet like 10 years ago, it's gonna be, right? And it was actually, sorry, it's more than that. I was in my late 20s and I'm 44 now. So that's like 20 years ago. Oh my God. I did the elimination diet and a lot of these things just started coming down. Headache disappears, my skin cleared out, the PMSs went away, just so much of benefits right away. So I really wanna encourage you to hit up my site and check out the Cooking for Balance online program. Learn how to do the elimination diet. It's a wonderful first starting point. Some people say, hey, do I need to do paleo? Like, I love paleo. I mean, I think it's a wonderful protocol. It's just that it's not for everyone. Like, if you're still eating traditional, American diet, right? And you're like starting the day with oatmeal and toast and drinking milk and yogurt and, and lunch is like sandwiches and dinner is pasta, then maybe going paleo might be like, whoa, this is way beyond me, right? But starting the elimination diet is just like 7 foods you're really cutting out. So I think it's much more doable. You can still do the non-gluten grains, and think about all the amazing things you can still do, like fish and meat and abundance on vegetables, right? You're just cutting out the foods that are really causing your body to be so inflamed. Okay, you guys, I gotta go. Enough of talking. You know me, I can talk forever. Next Friday, I'm still gonna be here, so we're gonna do live Q&As. If it's a fun recipe to show you, I will share it. Otherwise, we're just gonna jump on Q&As and we can dig deeper into whatever topics. One request I have of you before you chow off is that if you feel that, if you know women in your life who have horrendous problems with hormones, tag them in this message here or tell them about this podcast, this video Q&As, live broadcast. And yeah, thank you for a lot of thank yous are coming in. Thank you. All right, you guys, have a lovely one. Make sure you do something really wonderful for yourself. I'm working this weekend, but I'm planning to do something really nice after that, like going for a massage. That's my little pleasure. That's how I get a lot of relief from stress. Plus, it's not very stressful right now because it's just really a lot of fun. So, all right, everyone, have a lovely weekend, and I'll talk to you next Friday. Bye for now.